So, as the title suggests, we will be discussing the best, the worst, the shittiest missiles that we can have. We're starting off with, I would say, with IR missiles, and starting off with the mighty, wait, AIM-9V. Oh god, it's big.
Nice car.
And I'd say, you know, pretty bad missile. It barely tracks anything. Turn rate is also very shit. It's slow, and I would say it's dog shit. I would put it down here. First dog shit missile. Oh wait, what is the next one? AIM-9D. So I'm not so sure about the AIM-9D. I would say it's, you know, somewhere around C tier. Like, it's definitely not A or S tier. I would also say it's not B tier, just because it doesn't really pull all that much and not good at tracking enemies. Yeah, okay, guys, we put it C tier. We put it C tier. So AIM-9E. Where do we put the AIM-9E? I would say the AIM-9E can be E tier, maybe. You know, it's worse than the AIM-9D, obviously. So I'd say the AIM-9E is D tier. I don't know if you guys disagree with me, but it kind of works when you use something like the F100 or Hunter FGA9. AIM-9F. For the people that don't know, the AIM-9F is the... In-game, it's called the AIM-9FGW2, and it's only found on some German planes. It's basically an AIM-9B with an AIM-9E seeker. I would say it's E tier, yeah. It's not dog shit, because it doesn't lose track as easily as the AIM-9B does, but it's still slow as hell and only has 10G overload. So after the AIM-9F, we go AIM-9G. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna put the AIM-9G at B tier. It's not that bad at tracking enemies. It doesn't turn too hard with 18 Gs, but it has a lot of range. So it's, you know, it's not a dogfight missile, but you can use it at range. So I would put the AIM-9G at B tier. We can move stuff around later if we disagree on things. And it's kind of, in my opinion, you know, you might think I'm wrong, but in my opinion, it's kind of on the same level as the AIM-9J. Because the AIM-9J turns better, it tracks better, it's a lot better at dogfighting, you know, for dogfighting situations, but it doesn't have the range that the AIM-9G has. Yeah, the AIM-9J is good. It is good, but we definitely have better missiles now, and it doesn't have the range of the AIM-9G. Guys, okay, next one. Fireflash. British designs are just so awful. I can't comprehend how ugly this missile is. Like, look at this. Okay, I'd say, you know, the Fireflash is kind of E tier at best. I wouldn't put it at dog shit, because you can use it in a head-on and stuff. What plane can fire that? Oh, it's that one British plane. What's it called? It's a Swift. Yes, Swift F7, if I remember correctly. And you just guide it by pointing your nose at something. So it's kind of weird to aim, but at the same time you can use it in head-ons and stuff. So I wouldn't put it at dog shit, but it's also not a good missile. You know what I mean? So let's go on. AIM-9L, the big one. I'd say it's A tier. I wouldn't put it as. Reason? It is very, very sensitive to flares, especially in head-ons, and most of the times it has the same issues that the AIM-9G and AIM-9D suffer from. It is pretty bad at tracking enemies, so you will miss a lot of easy shots with the AIM-9L, even though it's supposed to have a 30G turn and can all aspect. So I would put it at A tier maximum. If you're good with it, A tier. Like, how I use it, probably B tier. I don't know, it never works for me. Yeah, some people here think it's a B tier. I can definitely understand why, but I'd say it's still better than the AIM-9J. So that's why I would have to put it A tier. Next one is the Magic One, French missile, and I honestly love it. It could go straight to A tier in my opinion. It's not all aspect, but it has a 30G pull. It tracks very, very nicely. It has a lot of range. It's fast. You know, it obviously also depends on the battle rating you're playing it. If you're playing like 8.7, then the AIM-9B will be the best thing you have, and it will still be usable. But in a direct comparison, it's just stinky compared to the others. Let's go with the Firestreak. Again, British engineering, it's such an ugly missile. Like, ooh. I would put the Firestreak maybe C or D tier. I'm not sure. Turns harder than the AIM-9E. I would put it at D tier. By the way, I joined all these pictures from the Warthunder wiki. But the Warthunder wiki doesn't have a picture for the Magic 2 yet, so I had to take one myself. Here it is, the Magic 2. And I would still put it at A tier. It's definitely not S tier. It pulls harder than the Magic 1, and I mean, I've used the Magic 2 quite a lot. It's not that good, honestly. But you know, if you all want it to be S tier, then we can put it at S tier, okay? Next one is the PL2, which, if you didn't notice, is a copy of the AIM-9B. So that's why I would put it at dogshit. PL5B. I honestly like that missile. It is really good, very high range, 30G pull. It tracks very well. It has a long burn time. It's not the fastest at Mark 2.2, but it's definitely very, very good. And I would put it at least A tier. No, I personally would like it to have it at S tier, but it's comparable to a Magic 1, I guess. R3S. In case you guys are wondering what this missile is, it's another copy. Look, it's the same as the PL2 and the same as the AIM-9B. They are all the same. So it's just another dogshit missile. It's just a Russian version of the AIM-9B. So, next one, R13M. Honestly, I like the R13. I would put it at C tier. Take a look at the R13M1. Oops. And I would put that straight at B level together with the M9G and M9J. Alright, next up, the R23T. It's the IR-guided version of the R23. And honestly, I quite like it. I would put it at A tier. You know, it is all aspect, but very, very limited in its all aspect locking range. But in a rear aspect or side aspect, you can lock it on and on like several kilometers and fire and almost always get a kill. But it's quite susceptible to flares, and it's not the best turning missile. It's quite fast though, so I would put it up at A tier. The R24T on the other hand, that shit straight up S tier. Straight up S tier. Long range, all aspect IR missile. Straight up one of the best missiles in the game. So next up, the R60. You know what? No. Let's start with the R60 before we take the R60M. I would put it at B tier. You know, it's a very good dogfight missile. It turns a lot harder than things like the M9J. It doesn't have the range and is very, very, very susceptible to flares. I think B tier is good. R13M on the other hand, no, it's a straight up upgrade. It's just a different seeker, all aspect. I would put it at A tier. It's still very, very susceptible to flares and has the same range issues and everything. Now you can launch it in a frontal aspect, which I'd say is pretty helpful most of the time. Yeah, I think A tier is a good place for the R60M. Oh, next up, another ugly British missile. Like, just look at this thing. The Redtop. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a very, very big and slow missile, but it turns quite well and it has a lot of TNT. Like, you can get multi-kills with one missile if two enemy planes are too close together. Yeah, it looks like it can kill ships, man. I would say it's a C tier at best. I wouldn't put it at B tier because the range is so limited. It's so freaking heavy, you know? You don't get close enough, it just falls out of the sky. So that's why I would think it's a C tier. Oh yeah, what do you guys think of the SRAAM? I would say it's either B or A tier missile. I'm kind of debating on that. Okay, you know what, guys? You're right. We should have put the AIM-9B at S tier right at the beginning. It always belonged there. So where do we put the SRAAM? I think it's a good B tier. You're kind of suffering when the enemy has flares or gets too far away or is faster than you, but for anything that doesn't have flares, it's quite a good missile.